Hey there, it's Jeff Veley. I'm excited to share this with you because this one tip that I'm going to give you, this one little shift, can literally save your district thousands of dollars each and every year. I talk to schools all the time about bullying, of course, and I find out that the way that they're handling it is probably the least cost-effective way for most that you can handle this problem. The question is, how much does bullying actually cost a school? Well, if you look at the federal requirements for how we are supposed to respond to bullying, and then you also look at the state policies on how districts have to respond when a student reports bullying, and then also how many staff members, how much of the district resources are involved in following up on a single incident, you can start to calculate a cost. So let's kind of first go through it of what happens. Well, of course, a kid usually comes to a teacher or they go to the office and they report that they're being bullied. They start to talk about an incident, and of course, the district, the school, then the staff have to begin to investigate that incident. When that happens, you've got multiple people being involved, usually the assistant principal, the school counselor, often the teacher. You call in mom and dad for a meeting. You're making phone calls to the parents of the kid that's doing the bullying, usually the bullying victim, to say, here's how we followed up, here's how we did with this. All of this costs a lot of time and a lot of money. It's redirecting time from scheduling classes, teaching in the classroom, kids learning, to now trying to solve this problem, and it involves all these different people. Plus, you've got to file a report that goes, of course, to the district office. That way, if the superintendent or someone needs to pull this up, it's all there. How much money does this cost? Well, we're able to break it down per incident, and check this out. The average bullying incident costs a school between $1,200 and $1,500. Now I'm talking about per report. So let's say someone calls Johnny an idiot. With zero tolerance policies, that's got to get reported. Now I understand that there's a lot of incidents that are far more severe than this, but each one of these incidents, each one of these reports is costing a school between $1,200 and $1,500 a year. Now on the conservative end, you take 10 reports like that, that's $12,000. Let's say you have 35 incidents like that, that's $42,000 that a district is spending on the conservative end. What about one incident per day? That's $217,200 that it's costing a district. Why? And where's the shift? How do we solve this? Well, it's simple. Most anti-bullying programs out there are teaching students to report every single act of bullying. Remember, at $1,200 to $1,500 per incident, that costs your district, your school, money. Teaching them to report every simple, silly little social squabble. But if we shift that, if we don't teach students just how to report, and obviously they should report serious stuff. I'm not saying students should report. I teach students, yeah, you need to let adults know what's going on, especially if it's something serious. But if we teach students how to start to solve their own social problems, here's the shift that we've seen. Back to Nashville Public Schools, there was just a study done. They actually brought in exclusively social and emotional learning programs, and that's how they dealt with their social conflict on campus. They saw an 11% increase in test scores in one calendar year, and were able to correlate that it was directly related to the social and emotional learning programming. They also saw that they spent a lot less time policing and following up on negative social behavior and more time teaching in the classroom. So 11% increase in test scores, and they saved thousands of dollars that year because of these programs. And why? Because they were spending less time on conflict and more time on curriculum and actual academics and education. Plus, they were dealing with the emotional needs of kids. My program, our mission is to equip students with these social and emotional skills that teach them how to face adversity, grow in resilience, and solve their own social problems. We're empowering students how to solve their own social conflict. That way they're not running to the office and handing the problem over to you, which is exactly what happens with most programs. They're handing the problem to you, and then you've got to spend money and time dealing with it. It's empowering students with social skills and emotional coping skills so that they can solve the problem themselves. And when they do that, your district not only saves money, but you have strong, confident kids that are spending more time on learning than they are with you wasting time on solving silly little problems. My program teaches the peace sign approach. It's won 2 international awards. It's recognized by the United Nations for 2 simple steps that solves social conflict. Now, the anti-bullying industry, they call call a program a great success that show a 20% reduction in bullying. But let's be real, a 20% reduction in bullying, if we're calling that a success, that's still an 80% failure. My program, students that use the peace sign approach for 1 week with a student that's bullying them, 95% of them say that the bullying stopped or was dramatically reduced in only 1 week of using this approach. That means a lot of money and a lot of time saved for your district. It's amazing what happens when we empower kids. I'd love to come to your school and teach your kids this approach and also answer any questions that you have about the program.